What's up, everybody? Today we are going to be making
dark chocolate coconut bites.
Undoubtedly, these will change your life. What's up, everybody? It's Bjork.
And Lindsay.
We're from Pink Trip Yum.
For this recipe, we're going to use unsweetened flaked coconut, coconut oil, honey, vanilla extract, sea salt, and a little bit of chocolate for topping. We're going to start by taking our unsweetened flaked coconut, and we're going to be pulsing that in the food processor to get it really finely ground. However, I want to just mention that I have a really hard time finding unsweetened coconut in the grocery store. So if that's true for you and you don't maybe live by a specialty grocery store, I just bought a pack of these Bob's Red Mill unsweetened flake coconut on Amazon, and we'll link to that product in the description below.
Down below.
So this,
right here.
Yes, thank
Right
you.
there.
And we're gonna measure 2.5 cups into the food processor. Then we're just gonna turn it on and let it run for a while and let that coconut get really finely ground. We don't want it quite like where it's turning into a flour or a butter. That would be if you kept it running for a long time. But we do want it chopped up pretty finely so that it can absorb the coconut oil pretty well. So go ahead. Okay.
Tell me when.
Okay.
We're done yet?
No, keep it on a little longer. All right, so the consistency of the mixture now kind of almost looks like rice, like really tiny rice, and that's perfect because that's gonna absorb the coconut oil and the honey that we're gonna mix it with in just a second. So I have this bowl. Bjork's gonna put the coconut in this bowl. Now that we have our coconut in the bowl, we're going to add our other ingredients. So the first thing I'm gonna add is about a 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil. Usually I add an extra tablespoon or 2, just depending on how the consistency feels. So for now, I'll just add that 1 extra tablespoon, and if we need more later, we can add more. The next thing we're gonna add is a little bit of honey. So I'm gonna add about a 1/4 cup of honey. So it's about equal parts on the coconut oil and the honey. And this honey is really nice because it's a natural sweetener, and then also it's sticky, so it kind of helps it all stick together. We also need about a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And then the last thing we need is just a pinch of sea salt. Now we need to stir this up. Now that we have the mixture all combined, it looks really evenly mixed, usually what I'll do is I'll just test the mixture.
Taste test.
Well, no.
Oh.
I will just test it. We are gonna be rolling this into balls, and so it has to be sticky enough, and sometimes it just doesn't hold together and it needs a little bit of time in the fridge. But actually this looks okay. It's sticking together in a ball, and so I think we're ready to form the balls out of the mixture and put them on the cookie sheet. So the thing that's really important about these little coconut bites is that sometimes I think people wanna take them in their 2 hands and roll them together like this, but it's just gonna crumble apart if you do that. You need to just gently roll it or kind of squeeze it. Usually I find it works best just in 1 hand. And it doesn't have to be perfect because actually they're pretty delicate when you first mix it, but once they're in the freezer, they'll be a little bit more malleable, and you can take one in your hand and kind of reshape it to perfection. We have all the little coconut bites rolled. Well, actually, usually I get 12 out of this recipe, but I think somebody might have eaten some.
A little bit. Taste test.
So we have
Needs to
11 little coconut bites, and I'm gonna have Bjork put those in the freezer because my hands are a mess. We're gonna put them in the freezer
for me.
for about 30
Bring them to
minutes.
the freezer.
So it's been about 30 minutes with the coconut bites in the freezer, and I had Bjork go and grab those, and we have them here, and they're looking fabulous. They're really firm and solid, which is awesome. As they sit out at room temperature for a couple minutes, they'll become a little bit more moldable. And so I'm actually gonna work on kind of reshaping some, like the flat sides on here, just by squeezing them in my hands and warming them up a little bit. While I'm doing that, I have a job for you.
Hey, a job for me.
I have a job for you,
Okay.
which is to melt some chocolate. So I have some chocolate chips here, and I would say just grab like a scoop, like a 1/2 cup or so,
Okay.
maybe 3/4 cup. Usually I do this by just putting it in a bowl and melting it 30 seconds at a time in the microwave. So now what we're gonna do you wanna try this?
Yes.
I'm gonna dip this in there, and I usually just drop it right in, and then you can kind of, just roll it around. It should be plenty solid after being in the freezer that it's not gonna melt or fall apart or anything. What I do is I like kind of tap it on the side. And then this is the hard part though, is when you try to transfer, sometimes
Roll
it
it.
can be a little tricky. Just kind of like let it slide off. I had a little bit of extra toasted coconut from the last time I made these. So basically what I did is I just took all the crumbles left in the food processor and just toasted them in a little skillet, just kind of shaking the pan continuously. And then I just keep those in a little like Tupperware container, and we had some extra, so I was able to sprinkle that over the tops as well, which makes them super fancy looking.
All right, Operation Chocolate Cover has been completed.
Yes.
Job well done, Lindsay. We're gonna take these now and we're gonna transfer them over to the freezer to let the chocolate harden, and then we'll take them out and eat them all in one sitting.
We are all done. These look great. They store really well in the fridge, and they're a really nice little snack, especially if you're trying to cut back on refined sugar a little bit.
Yum.
Really good. If you want to know more about any of the equipment that we use to make this recipe, you can check the links in the description below.
How about that? And
Yes.
if you want to subscribe, you can go ahead and click this subscribe button right over here. And if you want to learn how to start a blog, that's something that we do and we enjoy doing. Not only video, but we have a blog as well. We have a little tutorial on Pinch of Yum, and that link right there will take you to it and show you how to start a blog. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Delicious treats ahead.
And we hope you enjoy your coconut bite. Hey, Bjork's bonus tip here. So, you know, at the end, sometimes you'll have this chocolate that's left over, and one of the things that we never want to do is waste the chocolate. So you can actually take some of the chocolate chips and you make what I call a chocolate sandwich. So you take 2 of the chocolate chips and then you put a little bit of chocolate in the middle, and it's kind of like a hamburger, except it's chocolate in the middle of 2 chocolate chips. And then if you squeeze it together, then it's a little chocolate hamburger, and you can feed that to little baby mice. So that's Bjork's tip.